Hi, this is Ilma Art Studios photograph for today. A barn against a Victorian house right in the background. And that's the barn. It's so nice to put them together because it's so contrast, and the clouds also help in contrasting the whiteness there and the different textures of the clouds and the plain brown of the ground. Hi, check my website at ilmaarts.com for more artworks and photographs. Today I'd like to share Ecclesiastes 9 verse 10. It says, "Whatever you do, do well, for when you go to the grave, there will be no work or planning or knowledge or wisdom." Here's my poem. Do well whatever you do. God gave you abilities to use and hone. Use it so you can press on to your growth. Whatever you do, give all you got to do it well, for your life may end. No one can tell. There will be no work or planning on your grave, so when you face challenges, just be brave. When you do outstanding work, God can be praised. Others will see His power and His amazing grace. Here's my essay. I know of some people who like to settle for less because of their fear of criticism, rejection, or not living up to other people's expectations. What a waste it is when we have this kind of mentality. It places us in a box where we don't really see our maximum capabilities. Being safe brings comfort to many people, but success is usually a byproduct of taking risks, sacrificing comfort, and not being afraid to fail. Most successful people didn't achieve it in just one click. It is usually a result of repeated failures, learning from them, and not giving up. The Bible tells us that we must do our best in anything we do, because when we die, we won't have the opportunities to excel and thrive. Prayer. Lord, help me to recognize it when it becomes mediocre. Reflection. Why do you think the Bible encourages us to be excellent in what we do? Remember that we are made in God's image. So our default is that we have the authority and the power to create and be who we want to be. So when we do well with anything we get ourselves into, we're actually maximizing the gift that God has given us. The thing that limits a lot of people are all the voices that they heard when they were growing up. Let's say they heard that, oh, you can't do that, that's too hard for you. So that's one box that was given to them. And I remember when I was little, I as young as probably 3 years old or 4 years old, every time I look at a painting, I would say like, oh, I'd like to be able to do that. I'd like to be a painter when I grow up. And people around me look down on artists because they think that there is no money in art. So they discouraged me as early as that age not to be an artist. And so that put me in a box for 32 years, because I started getting out of that box at age 32 and said to myself that even if I don't know how to draw a straight line, freehand, I would try it. And so I did, and I failed, and I failed, and I remember the first attempt to sketch a seascape and some trees around it. Like, people were watching me out in the park, and they were laughing at me, and But I didn't care if they were laughing at me, because I said to myself that if I practice and practice and practice, then I will be able to get to that goal that I want to. But I did very realistic goals, just one step at a time. But I always told the Lord then that I'm going to be able to do this if you help me. If you don't help me, then I won't be able to do it. So I relied on God's strength. And so I became a self-taught painter at age 32. And never in my wildest dream would I even imagine that I would be able to sell my paintings. So 6 years after, and my school, I didn't have money to pay school. I didn't have money to pay materials because I was raising my son then on my own. So all our money are all allotted for certain things, so I cannot have extra expense. So I practiced and practiced, and I remember I taught in a very exclusive school for a Catholic school for girls, where all these rich kids would just throw away paper and colored pens and pencils and all that. So I would just pick them up in school when they just throw it out, and I started doing my works from that. And 6 years later, I was selling my works, like from that time, since I was 32 up to now. I'm so blessed that God has given me an opportunity to sell at least over 400 paintings in my lifetime. I'm still alive. And Van Gogh had to die before he was able to, before his first painting was sold by his brother. So what I'm trying to say is that we will not be able to be excellent in what we do if we don't get out of the box of all these limits and prisons that we put ourselves in just because we heard that when we were a kid. And the voice that tells us that, oh, you're not able to do that, you won't do that, or actually those are lies by the enemies. So if you believe the lies, that is not true, because God made us in His image. So if He made us in His image, we can do anything that we desire that is within God's plan. We can't, a lot of times we don't succeed because our motives are greedy motives or selfish motives. But if our motives is to glorify the Lord, I am sure that it will always succeed, because that's what we were designed for His glory. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you will be able to do your best or do well and excel in whatever God has gifted you with, whether it is being an artist, whether it's being a writer, whether it's being a singer, musician, whether it is being a janitor. It doesn't matter what your job is, but if you do it well, God will reward you and shower you with His blessings and favor. Thanks for watching again. Remember, God loves you so much. You're made in His image. So that's how much He loves you. So you must love yourself and believe that anything is possible. Because men thinks that there's something that are impossible, but with God, everything is possible. God loves you.